So like we've sort of broke it down, girls and boys, sort of like a dance,
It's a girls' table.
sort of like a high school dance.
Until they've had a couple of drinks, and then they'll start to mix. I get it. Wall huggers.
Dance to like 80s music.
Yeah.
So last season was an interesting one for your characters. We really went from season 1 where there were definitely villains. It felt like
Definitely.
definitely villains.
Villains.
I don't
So-
agree with you already. I'm not joking. I don't agree with you already.
Well, maybe the villain of the.
Okay.
But last season, you really found yourself at the end of the season. It felt like sympathizing with them, rooting for them. I was trying to figure out one more expression.
I really like where it
No,
stopped.
I'm not asking you to change,
Okay.
but I'm just saying my answer will include the fact that I don't agree with you.
Well, why don't you agree with me then?
Well, I just don't agree with your premise that they're basically black and white villains. I don't agree. I didn't mean to stop
No,
you.
it's okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, here I will sort of jump on.
You're kind of trying to
what you're saying.
save her here. It just seems to have fallen
is that-
apart.
no, but from where you come from watching, where we're coming from playing, we don't think of it that way. That's all. That it's a difference of. I think both observations are valid in that you're standing on the outside with trying to evaluate us or figure out who we are. We are those people, and we're trying to sort of. Rufus has made a point earlier today about, we're always the heroes of our own stories, so we don't think of ourselves as villains. And so if you were to ask us, we would never say that we're a villain. I think that's the point.
Well, I see you both as very complicated characters. We got to see a little bit of your backstory in the last season with, when the bomb dropped and everything. Will we get to see any more of your backstory, and will we get to see any of yours?
Not as much as I would like. I mean, if I was in charge, I'd have,
Wait,
what
you're not in
we'll
charge?
discover. Well, I try my best not. But you'll get to find out more by implication and inference, but I don't get to do as much of that as I'd liked. I mean, maybe in the future I will, but that story does get eked out a little. I get confused between season 3 and season 4.
I know. There's a lot of talk about. There's the way that the past comes in about like a reference to we were in this battle together, things like that. Very rarely do you actually
On the
see a
opposite side.
flashback.
No, exactly. So it might feel like you're getting flashbacks, but in fact, sometimes just a little bit of conversational behaviour will reveal something that's happened, in the past. And to go back to your question, I certainly didn't mean to shut you down. All I really meant to say was that absolutely what he says, but on top of that, I would add, from my perspective, and I believe from his too, I always saw my character's position as way more complex, far more than even just being the villain of the piece, but having to believe in it. I actually saw what was interesting about my character as someone who would clearly had history worked out our way, be a good guy, in the role of a bad guy. And I've always, what's kept me going through that story was the fact that those two things were in conflict, so I never saw him that way. Not only did I not see him that way, I thought that's what makes him interesting, is that even in the first season, that there were opportunities to see the good side of him as well. I mean, that was contingent on me doing this, is the fact that I wasn't going to say yes when I just read episode 1, because that was just a bad guy. As soon as I saw season 2 and episode 2 and found out about the story with his son, then it became something I was interested in, because then you have a good guy and a bad guy mixed. And that was there present in the first season. Whether it's become more obvious, but all I would say is that the seeds of that were there from the start, and that was very, very important. I think similar to you.
I like the challenge of. The first time you really see Kido in any, he sort of comes in and out in episode 1, but in episode 2 you see him interrogating Frank, and then he kills his sister and children. So.
It's not your nicest.
I like the premise.
In a way, you could always say that was a bad thing to do.
I like the challenge of starting from that point.
Yeah.
But then the one line he has at the end of that episode, he says, "I am not a monster," and so you have to, that's been such a touchstone for us. We've come back to that a lot, which is that, he means that. And so what is that? And so it's sort of been the great puzzle and the thing of great interest, which is to sort of tell that story. So when you say that you find yourself empathizing with us or privy to a different point of view than maybe you had at the beginning. That's tremendously gratifying
Yeah.
for us, and a real it's very appreciated because that's sort of what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell our stories.
Yeah, and what's also true is that, you know, what you perceive as happening over the seasons, in a small way happens over season one. You know, our most evil moments are in the first couple of episodes.
Yep.
Actually, if you look, by the time you get to episode 5, 6, 7, 8, it takes a long time for the overriding impression of episode 1 and 2 to die off. But by the time you get to the end of season 1, there's a lot more. I don't know whether there's stuff going on here. That actually there's enough. It's just that we start off. All of the most evil stuff I do in the first episode.
Yes, but I will also say going into season 3.
Wait. Let me ask you a specific question about season 3. It's for
Sure.
both of you. Okay. John's family has a very specific arc in season 3 because of Thomas's sacrifice. And it seems like,
So you've seen season 3?
yes, and it drops today, so it's relevant because
Yeah.
everybody's right now maybe home watching it.
Yeah.
So it's not really going to be a
Tomorrow.
spoiler.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow, yes. I'm sorry, tonight, kind of.
Tonight.
And John's demeanor changes in season 3 a lot. His decisions are going to be completely different and relevant to family.
In
And
a way that's
sees-
obvious to you, but that was the
and-
case in season 2 as well.
And when he see, even the way you act is completely different. And with Kido, you're doing a lot
My
of
acting
things
style has
with
changed.
regard to your integrity because of something that happens in season 3 as well as a result of the bombing in season 2. So can you just talk a little bit about how you guys got to change a little bit in season 3 as a result of what?
Based on you telling me that I've changed my
Well, as a
performance.
result of the big things in season 2.
I don't necessarily agree that it's as
As a
black and
result
white
of
as
the
you
big
say.
things of season
The big things that happened in
big
season.
things that happened. Thomas's death
The
and
big
the
things
bombing.
that happened when?
In season 2. Thomas's
Season 2.
Thomas's death and Kido's bombing.
I will say, regarding season 3, what you mentioned is that there are, if we can say that, if we can start with where Rufus said that we do some of our most evil things at the very beginning of season 1. As far as Kido is concerned, there are several things that he does in season 3 that are, he does a couple of really big things in season 3 that hopefully, if there's been a progression, you will view them in a way that's more complex than them just being evil.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yes. I mean, how does the wait play into your question?
Thanks so much.
That's
for
what
your
I'm
time.
interested in.
Because of what the Nazis do to keep Thomas front and center.
I still don't understand what you meant by wait.
Because you weren't talking about that.
Oh, I see.
I'm gonna steal him now.